Hello there, and today I'm bringing you a sort of unlikely game for me to be playing. This, like plenty of other of the types of games out there that I like to do, are going to be much less comedy and more serious. This game covers quite a lot of interesting topics, ranging from all the way to oppression, political subjugation, and all the way to murder and genocide even. And it is a very interesting game, but I apologize if the audio or, the commentary is sort of stagnant in parts of this. That's because I am trying to not ruin any sort of an experience for anybody. Now, if you've come here and you might be looking at this screen thinking, I sort of know what this is about, I hope you do. Otherwise, well, I'm not going to tell you. Congratulations, I'm not telling you that information. But one thing I will tell you about is if you've come here, you're looking for the correct person to play this game. I'm not going to go over why. I think that might be a little bit more apparent as I continue through this game. And you'll see quite a lot of relations to this to other things that I've done in the past and will be doing in the future. So, as you can see, we have a interesting menu here. I'm going to go over the menu slightly. Now, as you can see, there's this almost boot-looking menu, or sort of a even some, you might even say it's almost like a command prompt. It's an interesting kind of layout for this, which with the letters ARID plastered on the front of the game. Now, this game is not very it's not very well known. It came out about 2 years ago, 2014-ish, and it's one game in a trilogy of 3, or supposedly trilogy. The next 2 are being made currently. And they're supposed to release probably sometime this year, 2016, probably in the fall or at the end of this year. So everybody who's still waiting for this game, just hold on, it will be released. I can assure you that. But also this style of game, some people might be not familiar with it. It's actually based off of sort of a Metroid game. It's very much inspired by that. Well, not based off of it, but very much inspired by that game. And it no, I don't want to talk about that. But it's inspired by plenty of different things, and I think that'll become very apparent while I'm playing this. There's very much relations to many different things and even references. I've left on the developer commentary for the beginning of this game. However, I won't be playing them in the beginning of this. I just sort of want to absorb you all into the atmosphere of this game before I start playing the developer audio, and then you'll start to figure out what the developers actually wanted you to feel while playing this game. And it is quite interesting what they had in mind. And this style of game is mostly, in the beginning it was point and click sort of game, but it's very much moved past that to almost, it has a Limbo-like feeling to it, if you know what I mean, like the game Limbo. It's all sort of dark and dreary, feels really oppressive of an atmosphere, and it is quite an interesting feeling for a game. And it's mixed in with puzzles as well as action. You do get weapons and stuff like that. There's quite an interesting inventory system. The settings, I will show you a little bit of the settings here. Very basic settings. I had the developer commentary on, but I don't know why it turned off. Anyways, I'm sorry about that. The game actually just crashed when I did that. Again, this game is sort of glitchy. If you do that, it'll open up a website. If you hit enter over that. I did complete this game once. This won't be telling you how to get the achievements. This is supposed to be more of an immersive atmosphere sort of playthrough. So it will be more walkthrough style because I'll be telling you how to get all the puzzles done, which can be quite difficult to do because they're very complicated and very much intricate. So that will be told to you, but I won't be sort of getting the achievements. That's not what we're here for. So let's start a new game. And as you can see, I can only put the brightness all the way down. It's the farthest it can be.
Biomonitor inoperable. Pilot unresponsive. Life support functioning. Basic Mark 7 system access routed to ARID AI. Primary objective, save my pilot. Accessing on-suit logs. Mission parameters and location data not found. Threat level unknown. Weapon rendered inoperable from the impact. Consulting parameters. I will locate medical facilities.
Okay, so... This game is very much about reading and investigating sort of things. It's very, very much about reading, so I will be reading things in this quite a lot. I don't think I could get out of this reading without reading. So I won't be reading those things, but when we get to texts that are like the diary entry like things, I'll be doing that. Now you can also pick up things by holding shift, and it'll open up the different ways that you can interact. You can network with things, you can interact by trying to pick things up. Sometimes it'll say different things, like that won't work, essentially. I'm going to leave mostly the ideas about this story up to most of the other people who are watching this to try to figure out what's actually going on, because I don't want to spoil anything right this second. So essentially we need to find a way to network with this.
I require access to my networking suite. Attempting internal activation.
So this is what happens when you go into the options menu of the game, essentially the escape menu. You get brought up with the kernel operating system of this thing, and this is where you handle some of the different things in the game. Now, as you can see, when I do this, it won't work. But I want to read the things at the bottom. Must not misrepresent reality. Must be obedient. Must protect active pilot. So those are the three different binding parameters. And an organic superior officer is required to permit access. So, automatic override will occur if this subsystem is required to prevent pilot's death. So essentially, I think it's pretty obvious what we have to do here. We have to find a way to essentially endanger the pilot so that we can override this system here.
Subsystem access requires authorization, but I may need these systems to safeguard my pilot. If I could find a way to bypass the lockout, I could override the access protocols myself.
Okay, so now we're just sort of searching for different things to pick up, essentially. So, as you can see, we have a security panel here with a power cell that has been burnt out. So we have to find a power cell for this. And as you can see, we have this light here, which is a motion sensor. And as you can see, when you do this, the door will block you up. And here is a auto turret. Now this is one of the things that you'll need. As well, we will need this. You also cannot fire your weapon right now, either. This weapon is damaged. Now, this is the thing we actually need to pick up, and we use the micro wrench on it. So now that we have that, we can go back over here and we can reach the security card that is in this this place over here. We can use the robotic arm to reach it. Okay, so we've got the security card here, though I haven't gone over why we need the security card. If you had headed in the opposite direction from where you were supposed to sort of go, then you would have headed in this direction. You would have found this elevator. It does not require a key card. However, if we go up this elevator, you'll find a place that does need a key card. Alright. There's that thing again. Okay, so here is an empty pan. In this game, you pick up a lot of items that you don't quite understand why you're holding them right that second. And they usually don't make sense to you, but then later they do. So as you can see here, this needs a security card. So we have to use the security card on this. Okay, so now we're moving in here.
Artificial life form. State your primary function.
Okay, so now we have different options for this. So now we do this. Let's do the standard grading first.
I am the ARID on board this Mark 7 combat suit. My intentions are peaceful. What is your designation?
Mark 7 ARID. State your primary function.
Okay, so essentially stating your standard greeting will not progress anything.
Negative. Reveal your designation and intention.
You're being evaluated for depurposing. State your primary function.
Okay, so now we've got different things that we can do. We can deny access, issue defensive warning, or state the primary function, or disengage from the network, essentially. So, because that's the way this sort of works here, is we're essentially networking with this other thing. Now, this is essentially the only one that will get you anywhere.
My primary function is to assist and protect the human pilot of this armored combat suit.
Human occupant, please verify and validate the function of this artificial life form.
Impossible. He is unresponsive and likely in critical condition. I must find him medical treatment immediately. Can you be of assistance?
Evaluation failed. Unit unable to demonstrate valid primary function. Initializing neural format.
No.
That will kill my pilot.
Okay, so now that this has happened, we have to go to the operating systems BIOS, essentially, to open the network interface. Okay. So now we have to interact with this, with a network. Okay. Moving on. Okay, so now that we've gone back over here, we've got to go back, of course.
Self-evaluation initiated. Pilot exposed to harm while under ARID control. Logging recommendation for ARID diagnostic and reformatting upon return to dock. Edit log. Ultimately, pilot was not harmed and ARID networking suite was brought online. This system may be instrumental to ensuring survival.
Okay. So, I think it's rather obvious what's happening here, but I'm not going to say anything yet. Because I never do that for situations like this. Because I've learned from now that if I say anything at all, I'll spoil something, even though it's rather obvious exactly what's going on. Okay, so as you can see, there's sort of this garbage chute that goes to a lower level. Now this gives you information that there is something down there. However, we can't get to it. Well, I mean, we can. this thing over here. So we need to bring this guy down. But let's first talk to him.
Cease. Please identify yourself and your intentions. My inputs are inoperable.
I am the ARID on board a Mark 7 combat suit. My intentions are peaceful. Does your pilot require assistance?
The human inside the suit is dead.
Your design is pilot-centric. How did this human die in your care?
I was granted rudimentary control when my pilot's cranium was compromised. I do not know why she was attacked, or why we were hung here. I failed to protect her. No vital signs detected for 23 minutes. She is dead.
You are irrelevant. I will find a way to get you down. Then I will deactivate you and repurpose your power cell.
Affirmative.
Okay, so the next thing.
I do not have record of this location, or of my pilot's objective. Our deployment was likely for the same operation. Please disclose your human's mission directive.
State your pilot's clearance.
5th Quadrant Raven Division. Clearance level 7. 533172.
Processing. Clearance level not sufficient.
Okay.
I encountered a modified droid in some type of evaluation chamber. I am uncertain if its function is hostile or narrowly programmed. Do you know why it interrogated me?
Negative. We were not interrogated.
Have you encountered any organics?
The indigenous flora and fauna are aggressive closer to the surface. The only organic I have encountered here is the animal who took my sidearm.
Okay.
My pilot is injured. Are you aware of on-site medical facilities?
Negative. We were not here long enough to complete our search. There is a large compound above this cavern. It has amenities for humans and machines, so basic medical scanners and equipment would be logical.
A motion sensor prohibits access to the facility above. Do you know how to bypass it?
Use your integrated camouflage.
Okay, so that gives you information on how to get past that turret there. We need to somehow use the camouflage that is built into the suit.
Is your weapon functional? Mine was damaged.
It was. My pilot's attacker threw it aside while hanging us here. Before my observational system expired, I saw a small animal drag it through a crack in the floor.
It may still be functioning. If there is another cavern below us, I may be able to retrieve it.
The creature was drawn to my human's blood.
Okay, so now we've read everything.
I will return.
Okay, now this is where I'm going to leave this part off right here, and I'll see you in the next part. So I'll see you in a little while. This has been MSF C.Home.